evening and a very happy Wednesday to you. And thanks so much for joining us tonight on UpNorthLive Unscripted at 6:30. Well, for the first time this week, all of us across northern Michigan are seeing somewhat similar weather patterns, but it's been dry across the entire area tonight. Some of us are seeing some warmer temperatures than others, but at least a lot of us are seeing some dry blue sky. And it sounds like that will be the case for the rest of the week and into the weekend as well, right, Joe?
And even into early next week. So a quiet stretch coming up here with very little rain expected. So it looks pretty nice. I mean, for outdoor activities, and a gradual warm up too is expected as we move forward. The only thing tonight, Maya, is it is cold enough tonight, and we're getting deeper now. I mean, we're in May into the growing season where there is the chance for a little frost tonight. So we'll kind of show you those overnight low temperatures where we might get a little bit of frost, and look at all the way to Mother's Day coming up in Maine weather.
All right. Thank you so much, Joe. Let's start off with our top story tonight, which takes us to Grand Traverse County, where the promised enforcement of a no camping ban in Traverse City began today. So the Pines, an area where people experiencing homelessness camped, is cleared out of people and campsites. And our Allie Baxter was there this morning as people packed up and left.
They came in really early. They had the bright lights on me, and they're saying, open your tent door, which I do not live in a tent. It's a structure. My tent burnt down.
One day after the deadline Traverse City officials set for people living in the Pines to leave, multiple law enforcement agencies surrounded the area.
At 7:10 a.m., officers from the Traverse City Police Department, Grand Traverse County Sheriff's Department, and the Michigan State Police entered the Pines and made contact with 14 individuals and provided them an opportunity to comply with our ordinances. I can safely say that there were no citations or arrests made today as a result of this enforcement. All 14 individuals did leave the Pines on their own accord.
The city shut down 11th Street between Division and Elmwood Avenue. Police Chief Matt Richmond says it was done for protection during enforcement and later cleanup of abandoned campsites from the city's Department of Public Works.
Otherwise, we're going to have a lot more people in there, and we won't have the control that we need to determine that everybody is out of the Pines and accounted for and safely moved.
The city's quick response team was there for the enforcement, helping to coordinate last-minute plans for people.
We gave one individual a ride. He had a bus ticket. We gave a ride to him. To that location. We've transported, property that they need help storing. So we've tried to do everything we possibly could to make that transition as easy as we could. And that's just today. We've been doing a lot of outreach for the last year and a half or more.
Richmond says officers will continue to keep an eye on the Pines so that
we don't have individuals come back in and we're in the same situation we were before. So there will be a zero tolerance here in the Pines.
Community leaders describe what happened Wednesday as a pivot to no longer have to focus solely on the Pines, but on the regional efforts to create more housing.
But I'd like to temper that by saying it's not a cause for celebration. We cannot rest on our laurels. The Housing and Homelessness Task Force is just starting, and housing solves homelessness. We cannot forget that's why we're here.
City Manager Liz Vogel emphasized the year-round emergency shelter in the city is just one piece of the puzzle that allowed the city to move forward with cleaning up what she says had become an unsafe and inhumane environment.
They're people. They've always been people. We treated this with compassion. I also really want to thank those who understood the need for enforcement, because we have to keep everybody in mind in this community.
Our number one goal was compliance, to be professional, respectful, and compassionate when dealing with these individuals.
One of those individuals is Peter Showman. He told us he's been coming to the Pines since he was 24. He's 61 now.
Trying to get my backpack, but they had that bright light on me so much I was trying to find. I was confused. I woke up. It'll work out, though. I got the great spirit on my side.
In Traverse City, Allie Baxter, UpNorthLive News.
And let's continue the conversation on this topic with our guest today, the city manager of Traverse City, who you saw there in Allie's story, Liz Vogel. Liz, thanks so much for joining us on Unscripted.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
And this is something that you kind of touched on in Allie's story, but just to go into a little more detail, obviously the decision to enforce this no camping ordinance wasn't made overnight. Can you walk us through really the steps that led us to where we are today?
Yeah, so this has been, years in the making and has been a topic that's been front of mind for city administration since I started on day one, actually before I started, and working with our community partners, and especially in conjunction with the Community Foundation, our Rotary charity partners, all of our neighborhood associations. This has been a Sisyphean lift to enforce, but to do it with compassion, to do it with kindness, and to remember that these are people who need support and help. And our networks have been brilliant in stepping up to the plate. The Coalition to End Homelessness, the Quick Response Team. It took all of us together to make this happen.
And we've heard from different city leaders and officials that the biggest concern is the safety of these people who had been camping at the Pines. So seeing everyone leave today, we know that Chief Richmond said there were 14 people. Do we know where all of those people are going now?
We do. Actually, some of them will be going to Safe Harbor. Some have been diverted elsewhere. They're working with our community partners. A handful are going to be moving in with their family members. Some decided not to disclose where they're moving. But the most important part is that even those who disclose not to tell us, we know today definitively that there are enough beds at Safe Harbor to house any of those who did not choose to share their plans and those who did. And that is an absolute monumental achievement in this pivotal moment in time as we tackle this not just regional issue, not just a citywide issue, but a national issue in housing and homelessness.
And it looked like you were there today at the Pines as these people picked up their belongings and left. And as we heard in Allie's story, this is a place that for some people, they've kind of called it home for quite some time now. So I'm sure emotions might have been a little mixed. What did you see today? What was the experience like there?
So as everyone was asked to leave today, our law enforcement was really like, anything that you have that's treasured, that belongs to you, that you need support taken care of. We had totes, we had everything available to them to take care of their belongings. A handful of those folks took us up on that, and we store their possessions for up to 6 months. So I was very happy that, again, the compassion component of enforcement was front of mind with our law enforcement. And we are helping those folks take care of their treasured belongings. And it was difficult. They did have a community, but it's not a safe place to live in an encampment. It was unsanitary, unhealthy, and it just is not sustainable, not just for our community, but any community.
Right. And obviously this is just one step in a bigger picture to try to get everyone within the community and within the region housed. So what are some other efforts underway right now to try to reach that goal?
Yes, well, as you've heard earlier, the Unhoused and Housing Task Force has just gotten off the ground. This is a regional problem. It is not a Traverse City problem. It is an everyone problem. And these are human beings. We need to take care of them. Looking forward to working with our regional partners on the task force, which has just gotten off and running, and seeing what creative ideas we can come up with to continue this conversation, because housing solves homelessness. We need more housing. We need more permanent supportive housing. And those are the next steps that we need to be focused on. We need to be increasing the availability of resources from every aspect of this continuum. And I look forward to that discussion.
And are those different things that city leaders are currently working on?
Yes, we are currently working on it. There's no time to rest. Like I said earlier, this was one pivotal moment in this broader discussion that I'm very proud of. I'm humbled to be a part of. But I don't like to think of this as a celebration, because those individuals that left the Pines today are still homeless. They are people. We need to treat them with kindness and compassion, and we need to look at broader solutions. Emergency shelter is one piece of the puzzle, and I'm proud that we were able to put that piece of the puzzle together.
Still a long road ahead. So let's talk a little bit about the actual area of the Pines. What does the future of the Pines look like?
Well, up until this morning at around 10 a.m., I wasn't able to visualize that. But as I was leaving and I saw our streets team and our parks team that cares so much about our city assets, they were already starting to devise plans for tree plantings and all sorts of improvements to the area. So I look forward to sharing those with you again shortly.
And is there anything else, Liz, that you want to mention about this that we haven't talked about yet?
I'm just really impressed and humbled by all the community partners, but I haven't mentioned our elected officials, the city commission, the county commission, who have come together in a unified way that no one has seen before. It's historic, it's monumental, to say that we all want to be a part of the solution. So thank you very much to the city commission of the city of Traverse City and the Grand Traverse County Commission for understanding how important this piece of that puzzle is, and knowing that it's not just a Band-Aid. We're not trying to cover this up with a Band-Aid, that we're looking for long-term solutions. And to all the law enforcement that came out today, all the staff, it was the best possible outcome that we could have hoped for given the circumstances. And I just feel very humbled and blessed to be a part of a leadership team, a leader among leaders. And I thank everyone that's been involved.
Definitely takes a village, right?
Yes, it does.
All right, Liz, thank you so much for joining us on Unscripted and going into a little more detail about what everything looked like at the Pines today with the enforcement of the no camping ordinance now in effect in Traverse City. And we know this is a topic that is being discussed elsewhere around northern Michigan. In some communities, they have a similar ban. In places like Petoskey, we just ran a story yesterday that city leaders are discussing the potential of having a no camping in public areas ban. So let's take a look at our question of the day today. Would you support a no camping ordinance in your community? Scan the QR code on your screen right now. That will take you over to our website where you can vote. We have 197 votes as of right now. 80% voted yes, only 20% no. And we have a lot of comments on our Facebook page as well. So as always, at the end of the show, I will take another look at the updated results for a question of the day and read some of your comments as well. But we do have an update on a story that we have been following for quite some time now that is related to the Line 5 tunnel project. So as the tunnel project gets a little closer to a permit decision by the Army Corps of Engineers, Enbridge has renovated its information center in downtown St. Ignace, and it is open to the public. It now includes a scale model of the tunnel boring machine. And our Daniel Zivian was there today to check out the updates and has an update for you on the construction of the actual tunnel.
Enbridge's Downtown Info Center has been open since 2022, but Enbridge says it needed updates to reflect the tunnel's progress, mainly pre-construction planning by the contractors hired last year.
We've been working with the design engineers in Enbridge to really fine-tune the construction project planning for their work. And one of the primary milestones that we've really been working towards is the design of the TBM. That's the tunnel boring machine that will eventually drive and construct the tunnel.
This is a to-scale model. The actual machine will be about 21 feet inside diameter, finished, and about 600 feet long. Various different pumps and supporting gear to maintain the right mixture and densities of all the grout. That will be used as part of the backfilling. As the machine slowly moves forward, as it makes its way under the lake, all these utilities need to be extended. So a lot of that happens right here at the back end of the machine.
Meneghini says the building will be open from 10 to 5 on weekdays this summer.
The purpose of the building is for people to come in who have questions, concerns, want to meet an Enbridge representative. Hopefully we can answer their questions here on site, learn a little about us and what we do, and even particularly about the Great Lakes Tunnel Project.
I spoke with Meneghini about the ongoing legal challenges. He says Enbridge is confident in both the fast-tracked federal process and the battle over the existing pipelines in state court. In St. Ignace, Daniel Zivian, UpNorthLive News.
And today we received a statement from Earth Justice, one of several groups making a final appeal to stop the project in the Michigan Supreme Court. It reads, quote, "The Michigan Supreme Court is now weighing tribal nations and green groups' request to appeal the Michigan Public Service Commission's approval for the tunnel project. The next round of briefs is due on May 21st. A clean water future free of oil is possible for the Great Lakes." All right, let's take a quick commercial break now, but coming up in just a few minutes, we'll have much more on the forecast. Sounds like it will be a pretty easy couple of days for our meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix, because there's not a whole lot of crazy weather happening, but he'll have all those details for you straight ahead.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
It's been nice to see some blue skies all across northern Michigan today, and it sounds like we'll see similar conditions tomorrow and the next day and the next day and on and on and on. So, Joe, when is our next chance for any potential rain?
Well, that's a good question. I think maybe a spotty shower Saturday. I don't think so, though. Probably not until Tuesday next week.
Okay,
So,
wow.
you know, that's about a week away. And even then, still some question if that will actually happen or not. So, yeah, dry weather coming up. We'll have a nice sunset, though, this evening as well. The only thing, and I mentioned this off the top, is that it is cold tonight, and we do have a frost advisory for some spots. So if you take a look here at the map, it's the blue shaded areas. And before I zoom in here, you might wonder, well, why just that in the middle? Why not downstate? Why not up in the UP? And I always have to explain this. Downstate, it's going to be too warm for frost. And in the UP, the growing season isn't considered started yet, at least by the National Weather Service. So they don't issue frost advisories, even though you probably will get some frost up there. So here it is officially 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. tonight into Thursday. Lows near freezing in spots. I do not expect widespread frost freeze tonight, but there is the chance for some frost. If you got the green thumb going already, you might want to cover up the plants tonight. There's a look at our forecast lows. Newberry, Sault Ste. Marie, probably near freezing. Gaylord, close to that. Areas around Grayling, east of there. Out toward Mayo, Lewiston, that region, probably the most susceptible to see a little bit of frost later tonight. But it's a nice afternoon and evening, and there's a look at just beautiful blue skies over the Mackinac Bridge right now. Our Holiday Inn Express camera, 55 degrees, with the sun out in full force. And here's what I was talking about with Maya. This is a look at our rain forecast, the chances through next week, at least early next week, and there's hardly any coming up. So again, the gist of things, it's going to be dry. We did have a frontal boundary drop through here. There was a little bit of cloud cover with that. You can kind of see that earlier. There's some cloud cover south of a Manistee Houghton Lake line tonight. That will diminish. And Stormcast really, I don't even really need to show it to you because not much is going to happen. There'll be sunshine tomorrow. We'll pull in a northeast wind. So near Lake Huron, it will be a little cooler. Same thing, there's Friday. Sunshine, beautiful afternoon and evening. And then we do have a few clouds rolling in. This is our next front. Early Saturday, maybe a sprinkle, but I think most areas avoid that and stay dry. Longer range, you can see where northern Michigan is there. We cool down briefly Saturday, but then next week, the jet stream lifts way north of us. We get a big ridge building in here next week. So that means some warmer weather, especially over the eastern half of the country next week, cooler in the Pacific Northwest. And, these are average numbers, but look at the trend. A warm up. I think the warmest day will be on Monday. So here's our extended forecast. And yeah, very quiet as we head into what should be a beautiful Mother's Day weekend coming up. 60s and 70s on Sunday, on Mother's Day. And you see Tuesday, Wednesday, we've written in a scattered afternoon showers, maybe in the lower peninsula. That really, Maya, is our next chance for rain. So the offset to that, though, we have a nice stretch coming up here through the weekend.
Even potential for some 80s.
Yeah, especially early next week.
Sounds good to me. Thanks so much, Joe. Let's take another break, but we will check back in with Sports Director Harrison Beebe. Coming up next, stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. A pretty busy Wednesday between more high school girls soccer and Tigers. I think sports director Harrison Beebe will have plenty to talk about today on Unscripted. Where do you want to start, Harrison?
Maya, let's put the focus on a guy who needs our help at home. Anybody who has a computer and likes Northern Michigan, specifically Elk Rapids, now is your time to shine until tomorrow at noon. The Detroit Free Press, every week they unveil 4 athletes to be their finalists for Athlete of the Week. And this week we have an Elk Rapids senior hurdler in the mix for Athlete of the Week. Max Ward, he's about 4%, just about 4% behind Luke Harrison of Inner City Baptist that's down in Allen Park. So all 3 of these guys actually that Max is competing with are all baseball players from down in the southeast part of the state. But Max is our Northern Michigan representative, and you can vote once an hour, every hour on the Free Press website. And if you don't know how to get there, don't worry. We have a link to that on a story on our website right now, UpNorthLive.com. And you have until noon tomorrow. I think, as I said, you vote every hour. And hey, that's a lot of time last I checked. That's a good 17 hours or so to hopefully get Max in the top spot by tomorrow at noon.
Yeah, I'm heading there right now to vote. But while I'm doing that, what else do you want to talk about?
Well, we've had a lot of downtime because we haven't had any baseball games to talk about this week at the pro level. The Tigers have had to wait 72 hours for a game. They wrapped up their series with the LA Angels Sunday afternoon, and they're still not going to start this series in Colorado until, 8:40? Is that my ticker?
8:40, yeah.
Yep. So even still a couple hours left. They've had 3 full days on their road trip. So Maya, if you were stuck on a road trip for 3 days, what do you think you would do with your time?
Might have to do some sightseeing, little relaxing.
You have to stay within the team rules, though, the team confines. There might not be a lot of freedom there. Who knows what would really be available. I'd definitely catch a few movies and probably catch up on some podcasts and some books. But yeah, the Tigers have had to fill some free time in the last few days, not being at home and being on the road waiting for this Colorado series to start.
So back in action tonight, and then they'll play a doubleheader tomorrow, right, to make up for yesterday's cancellation?
I believe you broke that news last night on this show, right?
I may have. I just want to confirm it with you to make sure the news that I'm breaking is indeed accurate. Okay.
Yes, it is.
All right, Harrison, thanks so much for that. Let's take a break, but we will check back in with our question of the day and the live results straight ahead. Stay with us.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Our question of the day today has 211 votes. It is, would you support a no camping ordinance in your community? And just to clarify, these no camping ordinances are in public places. So I'm seeing some comments saying like, well, what if my kids want to pop a tent in my backyard? That is fine. We are talking about public parks and public spaces. So on our stream, Jeannie says, yes, that's what campgrounds are for. Over on Facebook, we have one comment from Steven who says nobody should be allowed to camp in a public park. Robert says, if you own your own property and not in city limits, you should be able to do whatever you want. And Melissa says, as long as there's space for them, let them be. They are all humans. As always, join the conversation on our Facebook because we are all out of time. We hope to see you back here tonight at 11 o'clock.